Fernandes, who makes his full debut, having played from the bench last weekend briefly against Ross County. Robin Propper partners him with Chefty at left back. It's a midfield of Bailey Rice, which is, I believe, Chris's first ever Rangers start, which I was surprised to learn. Mohamed Diamande next to him, and then Nedim Bajrami in the number 10 position. Václav Cherny off the right, Yanis Hadji off the left, Hamza Igaman through the middle. The Rangers bench reads Jack Butland, Ridvan Yilmaz, who's back after injury, John Souttar, Cyril Dessers, Tom Lawrence, Nico Raskin, Ross McCausland, and Finlay Curtis. Chris, I think we both expected the team to have maybe a slightly more youthful tinge to it. The fact that Rangers don't have midweek games and Clermont probably wants the likes of Václav Cherny and Yanis Hadji to just keep ticking over. I think that makes sense. He's certainly going strong for what is a big game that the Rangers have to win, obviously.
I think his press conference stuff that we've got on the site from last night and on the site this morning, where he spoke about players, this is not a time where you can suddenly drop loads. You can't just go from a game every 3 days and then suddenly stop. I think that maybe he feeds into the selection. It's no real surprise that he's decided to go strong. I think we will see a couple of changes. Obviously, you'd imagine he'd like to try and get Ridvan some minutes off the bench if possible. It looks like a good chance to get Finlay Curtis some more minutes if possible as well. John Souttar maybe continue to build him back up as well. But it's certainly a strong looking Rangers side, and a side that's more than good enough to go and get the job done here.
Yeah, I mean, the Rangers squad had, I think, 2 days off. They were down in London together this week for some team bonding for a couple of days. At the start of the week, it's obviously been an intense, few months. Václav Cherny is maybe the player who defines that the most, having spoken about that, having looked very fatigued during some games. So surprised to see him play, but I think you're right. I wondered if Clermont might give a couple of these players just time off to almost have a little bit of a winter break, but probably makes sense to kind of keep them going at this stage. Let's start on Bailey Rice and Chris. I can't believe it's his first start because it feels like he's been around for so long. While people would have understandably liked to see Finlay Curtis come into it, I guess it's important to remember that he hasn't started a Rangers game at all, and he's only come off the bench 3 times maybe at this stage. You'd expect you will see him play at some point. An opportunity that Rice has earned. You imagine it'll be him at the number 6 position with Nico Raskin on the bench, who gets a deserved rest. And yeah, everyone will be intrigued, I think, to see what Rice delivers, because we all know of the talent and quality that he has, but he's now a first team player, and this is the start of his real journey being a first team player, in that he's starting a game.
Was it last week that the manager was speaking about in post-match? With that many games recently, I've lost track of them, but I think it was last week when he spoke about when he first came into the club, he saw what Bailey Rice could do on the ball. But I thought his comments were really interesting about some of the things that he perhaps had to work on as a younger player. Safe to say that Rice must have been working on those things, otherwise he would not have earned that promotion into the first team squad, and he would not have been given these starts like you, as much as the fans want to see the younger players coming in, want to see them get their chances. You do still have to earn it. You don't just get a Rangers jersey just for the sake of it. I would have liked to have seen Paul Incio, for example, on the bench. I thought Inciala might continue in the side. I think in my predicted side I had Finlay Curtis in there, but I can't really argue too much with the overall strength of the side. Bailey Rice was the obvious one. Rice is the one that there's more talk about. There's a bit more hype about. He's the one that the fans really want to see, and to see what he can do. Obviously got his chance last week coming off the bench. This is a real opportunity for him. Go and take that on. Yes, it's only Queen's Park, with all due respect to them. He should look good in these games, but time will tell if he actually can look good in these games or not. But it's certainly a real opportunity for him, and interested to see how that partnership with Diomande works over the course of the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see no Inciala, so maybe that's one that we'll get some clarity on throughout the day, because not surprised that Clermont goes with Fernandes alongside a more experienced player, because that's what he's tended to do, but I definitely thought you'd see him on the bench. However, maybe it's just a case of it's a slightly smaller bench in the Scottish Cup, I think by 1 place compared to the league, and as you say, John Souttar continues to come back from injury, so you perhaps want to build his minutes up. Elsewhere, looking at the front four, Chris, a few comments coming in saying it's a big day for Nedim Bajrami at number 10. His lack of goals and assists has been a talking point. We've obviously spoken about him here and there on the morning briefing and whatnot. I haven't watched Rangers this season. I don't think there's been many games where they've had a lot of the ball. They've been the dominant team in possession, that they've looked brilliant, and that can translate onto midfielders. With that said, do you think he's in a place where he needs to start, I don't know, imprinting himself on games a little bit more? I know what you think about this, so I'm setting you up for it, but yeah, he could do with a good performance today in the eyes of fans. Is that fair?
You're setting it up for me because you know that I don't think he's been very good of late. I think he needs a performance today, and he needs a run of performances. I know at the start when he first came into the side, he was also having to play off that left hand side. That was used as something of an excuse. I thought at times he did look good there. I think we've seen enough to suggest there's definitely some form of talent there. It's not to say he's completely hopeless as a player. There's definitely something there, but Rangers fans need to be seeing it a bit more regularly from him. He's in that number 10 role. As you touched on, Rangers should have a lot of the ball today. He should see a lot of the ball. He's got good players there round about him. Now, he can't say, well, I'm the experienced guy in this number 10. I've got a couple of kids playing either side of me. He's got Hadji in very good form, got Cherney in very good form, and he's got the main man and a man up ahead of him. He's got a lot of talent there to work off, to play off, to try and find. Yeah. So there's no excuses for him. So I think a lot of people will be looking at Bajrami to see how he performs today, see what the attitude's like, see how often he's on the ball, see what he's trying to create. I think he could really do with a performance. He feels like a guy that could do with a goal as well for a long time. He has scored some big goals. He scored in Europe, also he scored in the cup final. He is capable of these big moments. It just feels if he could put a wee run together, it would shift the conversation around him. And this looks like a good opportunity for him to kickstart that particular run.
Finally, I'm glad that Hamza Gaman is playing as a number 9 and will be passing the ball less, because I don't think that necessarily suited him playing deeper. Cyril Dessers was obviously speaking in the press towards the end of last week in that press conference previewing today's game. But Egeman back up there where you'd expect him to be, and kind of a full strength front four. Cherney and Hadji have both had pretty good numbers. You'd expect that Clement will hope Rangers can be in a position where they bring on the likes of Curtis and McCausland. McCausland obviously hasn't had much football either, but Egeman at the number 9 I think makes sense. We'll leave it there. We'll be back, of course, after the game with all your post-match analysis. Remember to subscribe to the Rangers Review. If you've not done so already, it's totally free and you get notified whenever we go live. But until then, enjoy the game where you're watching it. We'll speak to you after. Bye.